Hi you guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It is Dana Ray here, and I am back today with a word from the Lord. Today is January 24th. It is about 10:48 in the morning where I am. I will be uploading this video today because God has led me to record it and upload it today. I don't know what time yet, but I'm definitely going to get it out today. Excuse me. Welcome back to everyone who is an OG, and welcome for the first time to everybody who is new. I hope that you receive whatever God wants to speak to you through my channel, through my journey. And I appreciate you guys for being here. I thank you guys for your support. And yes, I love you all. So the title of today's word is Beauty and the Beast. Your mantle is generational. He is coming home. Okay. And y'all know, a lot of you guys know that the Lord has been talking to me about Beauty and the Beast for a very, very long time, as it pertains to marriage, as it pertains to love, as it pertains to what He is doing in this season with kingdom marriage and with God-ordained marriages. So I'm actually kind of excited to have a marriage word because it's been a little bit of a while since I've talked about marriage and I talked about the men. But I'm excited because there's definitely a word. God had me watch Beauty and the Beast yesterday, and this was the Beauty and the Beast that was released in 2017. Actually, I think March 17, 2017. We all know that 17 is the number of victory. God uses that number a lot to, speak and to keep me encouraged and let me know that your victory is coming. Your victory is here. Do not give up. Do not worry about how long it has taken. Whatever you're feeling, the shift in the spirit is actually what is happening, and you can definitely get excited. All right. So I'm going to just be talking about a couple of things that I heard in the movie and a couple of instances that happened in the movie that stuck out to me. I'm also going to share a dream that the Lord gave me early this morning, which coincides with this movie and coincides with the word that He has given me for you guys today. So Beauty and the Beast, a lot of you guys have probably seen Beauty and the Beast, the cartoon, but this one was more like real life type Beauty and the Beast. It was actually written, I think, in another language. And I watched it yesterday, and once I started watching, I said, this is in another language. But it had, the English translation, but their mouths weren't moving with the words. And I'm like, Lord, if I stay up and watch this, then I know you meant for me to watch it, because y'all, I be falling asleep on movies like all the time. So I actually stayed awake and watched it. So I knew that it was something that He wanted me to see. And I knew that He wanted to speak some different things from that movie than what I saw in the cartoon version. Because actually Beauty and the Beast is like my favorite movie growing up, my favorite Disney movie growing up. So anyway, here we go. So the girl in the movie, of course, is Belle. Belle had some sisters, and she had a father, and she had some brothers too. But Belle's sisters were kind of different from her. Belle would work outside, and she was in this garden all the time. She really loved roses. And her sisters were more like inside, very dainty, not like getting dirty or anything like that, but Belle was all in the dirt, like doing her garden or whatever. So her sisters were actually kind of jealous of her, or Belle was kind of like an outcast. And later on in the movie, it tells us why she was an outcast. So there was one comment that one of her sisters made that says that her joy makes me ill. Belle's joy, Belle's light made her own sisters jealous or ill. Like, they couldn't understand why she was this way and why she had this light and this joy about her all the time. That can be synonymous with a lot of us, a lot of you, a lot of how you felt growing up, like an outcast, like there was something wrong with you, when it was really the light that was inside of you that made people around you jealous or envious, or just not like you for whatever reason, or treat you in a way that you didn't deserve to be treated, because that light has always been there. So we know that Belle kind of so Belle's father, he was in some type of situation, and he ended up being at the Beast Castle. Like he was going on a journey or something, and he got lost in the woods, and the horse had like fallen and hurt his ankle, and then he ended up venturing off into the castle where the Beast was. So the idea was that the Beast allowed Belle's father to go back home for one day, and he had to return back, or otherwise the beast would kill his entire family. But when the father got back home for that one day and told the story to his children, Belle decided that she was going to go back in place of her father. She decided that she was going to risk her life to save the life of her father. This is because Belle's mother had passed away while she was giving birth to Belle. Belle already felt responsible for her mother's death. She already felt this weight on her because of what had happened when she was born. So one of the quotes that the beast had given the father was, "A life for a rose." Basically, when the father was in the castle, he had eaten all this food and he was able to have access to all these things. And he went for this one rose that was stuck on something, and he wasn't supposed to take that rose. When he took that rose off, that is when the beast rose up and was like, "I've given you all of this, and you go and take this one rose." And that's when he had to basically give his life for taking this rose. He took this rose because that's all Belle wanted him to bring her back, was a rose, because she loved roses. Okay, so the quote was, "A life for a rose." Belle returned to the castle instead of her father because she refused to be the blame for his death. She already felt like the outcast in her family because her mother died while giving birth to her. All right. So when Belle went off to this castle on the horse or whatever to return in place of her father, the beast told Belle that she was braver than her father, that her curiosity was stronger than her fears. Okay. She explored the grounds even though she was afraid to see the beast's face in the shadow. Her curiosity about this castle, about this beast, about what was behind him, what was wrong with him, where all of his anger was coming from, who he was, outweighed her fear. Okay, your curiosity about your spouse outweighs your fear of what you may uncover with God revealing things about your spouse to you that they probably have no idea that you know, or you know what I'm saying, that you aren't able to share yet. Only you know some things specifically about your spouse because God has revealed them to you, because you need to see some things so that you're able to be the correct helpmate, so that you're able to understand why they move, how they move, why they have these specific quirks and antics about them, why they move in this way. What is behind it? What is the pain behind it? What has happened that has caused them to be this way? The beast didn't want her to look at him. Belle made comments that the beast would never ever be able to fulfill her desires. The beast did not like how he looked. He did not like who he had become. He did not like who he was. Okay, but he still had this ego about him. He still had this internal arrogance about him that made him feel like he could get Belle without ever having to change. But he ended up definitely having to change and soften his heart in order for Belle to fall in love with him. Well, not really for her to fall in love with him, because she fell in love with him because that was her duty, that was her job, that was inside of her, in her heart. But he did change. She changed him. Okay, because he didn't want to be seen. Because she made this comment that the beast would never be able to fulfill her desires, he didn't want to be that way towards her. He wanted her to like him. He wanted her to think that he was vulnerable and open and loving, not the thing that he was putting off. She already spoke to the thing that he was trying to hide behind. She already spoke to the ego and the pride that had been keeping him in this position, in this scary place in his life for so long. All right. So then they're dancing. The beast offers her a dance in order for Belle to see her family again. So the beast is like, if you give me a dance, and Belle is like, can I get one more chance to see my family? And he says yes. So during the dance, Belle says, I can lead if you're afraid. Belle, the woman, says, I can lead the dance if you are afraid. Do you understand the spiritual implications behind this? This is the woman telling this big, powerful beast man that she can lead because she knows that he is afraid right now. God has put us in position to stand in a place of power, to lead and be examples to these men so that they will come back to God and take their rightful place. If we don't step in the position that God has told us to be in as the woman of God, as Proverbs 31 women, taking the lead and taking the mantle and speaking and doing what we are supposed to be doing in purpose, then the man will not be inspired to, get ahead and be in position where he's supposed to be. He knows he's supposed to be leading, but he doesn't know how. So sometimes we got to go first. Okay? Belle says, I can lead if you're afraid. She offers a dance with the beast in order to see her family again. The beast says, dancing with me doesn't scare you. He says to her, seeing me, being this close to me, knowing everything that you know about me and my personality and the bad, yucky things that you've seen about me, that doesn't make you scared? Belle is, no, she's not afraid. She has been called. God, she is the one who has been chosen to turn this beast life around, okay? And then after he says dancing with me doesn't scare you, Belle says you lead. Now she says, hey, I'm ready to take my position and I'm ready to let you lead and I will follow you. Okay? No, this message is not saying that women are leading men. Absolutely not. But there are some times where we have to go first in order for the men to see where they are missing, where they are supposed to be, and to encourage them that, okay, now you need to take your position. And as soon as you realize what your position is, I'm stepping back and I'm following where I'm supposed to be as a wife, as a helpmate. Okay? All right. So then he allows her to go see her family again after she finds out who he really is. And then he says, if you don't come back, and she says, I know, you'll kill us all. And the beast says, no, I'll die. This is how important it was for her to return to him, to restore his life, to restore that kingdom, to give him hope and love. He said that without her light, without her love, without her seeing past his pain and past the things that have made him into this beast, he would die. This is how important it is for you to take your position and for you to be humble and for you to do what God has called you to do and for you to stay and wait for the man that God has promised you. Because without you in his life, his purpose will die. The generations that are depending on him to get into position will not come forth. Him saving the generations that have already gone before, who are in a generational curse right now, will not happen if you don't come back. If you don't be his wife. If you don't say yes and take on the mantle that God has given you. It is important. You are the only person, you are the only woman who can do this. Okay? So in watching this entire movie, we finding out that Belle is a dreamer. She has these dreams. Every time she lays down in this house, she has dreams. And spiritually, God is showing her why the beast is how he is, what has happened in his past to make him how he is. Okay, the beast was cursed from a prince to a beast for eternity because he mistakenly killed his prior wife, thinking that she was a deer / game. Because in his prior life, he was a prince. Okay, a king, praise the Lord. Okay, he was a prince. All right, and his wife was telling him, please stop hunting so much because I want to spend time with you. Okay, and then he said, give me an heir, give me a son to take over the kingdom. Okay, and then she got pregnant. All right, and then in a time where he's hunting, he was hunting too close to the castle, and what looked like a deer until he actually shot the bow and arrow and it penetrated, was a deer, and then it ended up being his pregnant wife. This is why he was cursed to be a beast. The only thing that would break this curse was that a woman. The curse said that only a woman could save him. This woman was Belle. Only a specific wife can save these men. Okay? So then Belle goes back. There's all of these fights and stuff, and the beast is like dying in this water or whatever because he has been he's basically been killed. Like they tried to like shoot him with the bow and arrow and it hit him, and Belle springs up to save him, okay, when he cannot save himself. Okay, the woman springs up to save him because he cannot save himself. All right, Belle, and then so the beast asks while he's like dying in this water, he says, Belle, with a little bit of patience and compassion, will you find a way to love me? Will you be patient with me? Will you be compassionate with me? Will you be understanding? Will you give me grace and find a way inside of you to love me past this horrible face that I have, past this horrible mask that I'm hiding behind? Belle says, but I love you now. She already loved him regardless of what he was putting on, regardless of the external, because God had already showed her why he was this way. She knew that she could be the one to help foster God changing his heart, God turning his heart from a heart of stone into a heart of flesh. She already loved him regardless of his imperfections. Okay? So then she shed a tear after she said that. The tear dropped into the water that he was in, and he was restored back to a prince. Her love restored him back into the prince that he was intended to be. The entire castle was restored. Generations were restored because of Belle's yes, because of her decision to love someone who felt that they were unworthy of love, who felt they were even unworthy of being seen. So when this movie started, it was a narrator that was telling this story to two young children. At the end of this movie, what ended up being Belle ended up being the one who had narrated the whole story, telling her children this, but as a fairy tale. She was telling them as a fairy tale, they not realizing that this was actually her life. That's when God says this is generational. Your mantle, you carrying the torch, you saying yes, is generational. Okay? Her father was still living. Okay? Because I forgot to tell you guys, the father got really, really sick. When Belle decided to go to the castle instead of him, the father was dead. He was basically bedridden. He would not move. Okay, the only thing that made him move is when Belle came back for that one time, for that dance with the beast exchange. The father was restored back to life. Because of Belle's yes, generations before her were restored and generations after her were restored. There were now generational blessings instead of generational curses. Her yes and her love for this beast as obedience to what was inside of her, to what her purpose was on the earth, restored generations before her and after her. The dream that I had this morning, it's gonna all tie together, all right? It's gonna all tie together. All right, so this morning I had a dream that we were on an island and I was walking around with my sister. My sister's name is Christy. We walked up on a restaurant that was very small townish. When we went in there, it seemed to be only white people, and we walked in hesitantly because we were prepared for racism. But as we kept walking back, we saw a black person here and there. And then in the all the way back, we saw my mom and dad and some other people from the church that I grew up in. That church is named St. Luke. The looks on our faces showed how much we thought this place was going to be racist. I leaned down to whisper in my mom's ear that this was the most segregated looking place I had ever seen, and she said the same. Then I guess I was eating chicken nuggets with honey mustard sauce, and the nuggets were so big. I offered one to my dad because he wasn't eating at all. Of course, he took it. And then it seems that we were on an island that was spinning slowly. And I remember my cousin Skyla in the dream now, and this girl named Vanessa, and my god sister Hope. There were white men from the restaurant there. My dad got up and started singing, and then I realized that these white men that were in there could really sing too. They got up and they were singing all together. Some of the white men were smoking cigarettes, but they were still singing whatever song this was. It was beautiful. And I think that I was crying a little because I could see the hearts of these men. Then I was telling my mom how the island was spinning quite fast. She agreed and was almost about to walk into the water, but I stopped her because I knew she couldn't swim. All right, let me break it down a little bit because some of y'all might have missed it, but some of y'all might have missed some pieces. But so we walk into this place, and this place that's in an old town, and it looks like it's racist, but it's really not racist. When we get all the way to the back, we see people that are familiar that we weren't expecting to see back there. So then my dad, who is a singer, and first of all, my dad isn't eating. Why is it? We all eating chicken nuggets and stuff. My dad is not eating. My dad is representing the father in the Beauty of the Beast movie. When Belle went away, like I said, he wasn't eating, he wasn't speaking, he was basically dead, okay? And he didn't get his life back until she came back. My father didn't get up to sing until I offered him a chicken nugget, okay? Until I offered him food, until I offered him nourishment. Then he got up and got into position of where he needed to be. And once my father's a singer anyway in real life. Once he got up and started singing, all the men, no matter their color, no matter their race, no matter their what they looked like, these were older men too. I didn't really see any young men. All these men got up and they started singing too. And then I was able to see the gifts of these men. At first, I could not see what was inside of them. I just saw their external appearance, and I made an assumption about them because of my own past experience. But they were not who I thought they were. They were all men of God. They all were waiting for somebody else to get into position so they would feel comfortable getting into position. My dad was waiting on me. But we always think that our position is going to change the generations after us, never understanding that our position is affecting and transforming generations before us. It's more than about your children. It's about your parents, your aunts, your uncles, your yes. You're saying yes and taking on the mantle and taking on this torch and running with it. There are generations around you who are depending on your yes. Okay? Then when it says the white men were smoking cigarettes, but they were still singing whatever song it was. When these men come back, because this is the last part is he is coming home. When these men come back, they are not going to be perfect. They are not going to be rid of all of the sin that has been, plaguing them for years and years and years and years. But their hearts will be in place so that God can work on them. And God is going to have you be there in these last steps of him becoming the man of God who he is supposed to be. Okay? Your stance is more than just about a marriage. And it's more than just about the actual husband that you're waiting for. It is a lot about the men of God. They don't seem like men of God right now, but the men that went before you. that are before you that are older than you, co-workers, uncles, people who are watching you. God is going to use your story to save them. But if you don't stay, if you don't endure, they won't have no story to look at. They won't have no hope to look at because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. There are people and souls depending on you staying in position. It ain't gonna feel good all the time, but you have to stay in position. Also, my mom was about to jump in the water and I was like, no, Mom, I stopped her because I know she can't swim. Even women that seem like older than you, like they should have been telling you how to go, like they should have been the one to break the generational curse, but they didn't. You are responsible. They are on your back too. You have to go. You have to go. You don't have a choice. There are too many lives. There is too much weighing on you saying yes and staying obedient to the call of God on your life. All right? Your mantle is generational. Some of your yeses will save people in your family who are even older than you. God's glory in your life will restore hope that has been lost. Hope, that's my god sister's name. She was in the dream. Skyla, we already said sky, that means high up, elevation. She was in the dream. All right, here's what I wrote. The men are coming home. Actually, when I woke up, after I woke up, this song was in my head by Tank, I'm Coming Home. And it goes, I'm coming home to you. That's how I Need the Way You Kiss Me. I'll go through the lyrics in a minute. But anyway, this is what I said. The men are coming home. They are taking their rightful places in the kingdom of God and in society. It will take a little bit of a boost from you to replenish them so that they will have the strength and ability to take the position in which they belong. Many of them are hungry for something new, something different, because they are very much aware that they are living beneath God's desires for their lives. I had moved into what seemed, oh no, that's something else. That's another part. That's not the dream. Oh, that's another dream. All right, yes. They are living beneath God's desire for their lives. So it is time for them to definitely take position. What else did I have to say? I feel like I had wrote something else. Oh, that's it. So that's all I had wrote. So the song Tank, I'm Coming Home, it goes like this. I don't know, girl, why I could walk out on you, babe. I was so cold. I did you all so wrong. Yeah, the day I bounced on you might not even take me, but I'm begging, so please pick up the phone, because I'm coming home to you. I'm coming home to you. I know it's been a while, but I need the way you kiss. I need the way you touch. Ooh, I'm coming home to you. When you told me you were fed up with my stuff, it was ego that made me turn it around. It was ego that made me turn it around. I told you names and said you'd miss me when I leave, but look at me. I really need you now. The man, his ego said, oh, you gonna miss me when I'm gone. You gonna need me later. And now the song says, look at me. I need you. Look at him. He now needs you. This ego and this pride thing is what has got these men into the position that they are in now. And some of them, it is like pulling teeth. God is like pulling teeth trying to strip them of this pride. And a lot of them are still living in it. They are still struggling. You need to be praying because pride will destroy them. God has had me see the number 212. 212 means Alazonia. Alazonia, definition, boastfulness, boasting, show, arrogant display, pride. If you wonder what the men are dealing with and what it is that they are fighting and what it is that they are having to overcome that is taking so long, it is pride. Even the beast was prideful until he saw how important Belle was to his life, to his survival. These men will see, these prodigals, these husbands that we are waiting for will see how important we are to their survival. They will not get nothing that God has promised them without choosing the correct wife. They're going to choose, because the beast chose to get himself together. He chose to come down. He chose to soften his heart to receive the love that Belle had. And he had no idea that it would completely turn his life around. He had no idea. The scriptures that the Lord has given me to end this up: the parable of the lost sheep as well as the parable of the lost son. This is in Luke 15. Parable of the lost sheep. Then drew near unto him all the publicans and sinners for to hear him. And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, This man receiveth sinners, and eateth with them. And he spake this parable unto them, saying, What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he lose one of them, doeth not leave the 99 in the wilderness, and go after that which is lost until he find it? And when he hath found it, he layeth it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And when he cometh home, he calleth together his friends and neighbors, saying unto them, Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. I say unto you that likewise joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repenteth, more than over 99 just persons which need no repentance. When these men, when these prodigals come back home to God, to you physically, there is to be rejoicing. Because these men have been called and chosen since birth. The enemy has been working overtime to kill them. The fact that they are still living means that your prayers and your fasting and your obedience is working. They will come home. And if they are the man of God that God has promised you, they will come home to you. You need to stay in position. You need to understand how much is hanging in the balance of your obedience. You need to understand that the enemy is trying to wear you out. He's trying to point out everything that doesn't look like what God said. He's trying to bring counterfeits, bring up lust that you had handled before, and now all of a sudden it's like you want to do all these things and you want to be seen by all these people and you want attention and you're tired of being alone. This is the enemy playing for you to get out of position so you can forfeit your promise, the man that God has for you, which nobody can fill the role of the man that God has for you. And so that every soul that is attached to this miracle marriage will not be saved. For the generations before and after you will not see and hope again because your marriage won't come forth. You have to stay in position. And once these marriages come together, the warfare that you will face, you have to stay, because there is so much attached to your marriage. The enemy is angry. And when I tell you that he's going to try to destroy both of you individually, and when you get together, he gonna be even madder. Yo, this is taking a long time, y'all, because we have no idea what we're gonna face once we get into these marriages. The enemy's time is running out, and he knows that when these marriages come together, there are so many souls and so many people that are going to come to God as a result. God has to make sure that you have the endurance to stand and fight for your marriage, which people's lives are depending on it. The enemy don't want no children coming from your womb into this earth. Do you know what that means for him? Do you know what that means for the generations after us? Do you know the glory that will come with your children? Stop begging for stuff when you are not ready. You better enjoy your peace right now. Yes, it's going to be beautiful, but there are many things that we are not prepared for because we forget what the enemy's doing, because right now we're not with our husbands. All we can see that the attacks is what God shows us. You're not living with him yet. You don't see it face to face. You're not battling depression face to face. You're not battling anxiety face to face. You're not battling suicide of another person face to face right now. You don't know what that feels like. You don't know when someone does not see themselves and they're not able to love you because they don't love themselves. You don't know how that feels. These men are struggling. And you are called to be a helper and to bring them joy. And if you think the enemy doesn't have something set up for you, you better have a lifestyle of fasting and praying right now and faith right now. Your relationship with God better be top tier right now, because that is the only way you are going to be able to stand against what the enemy has to throw. Child. I know that can convince you like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have said yes, but too late. You already said yes, so you gotta do it. It's other people. We out here. We all doing it together. So we here. We gonna be encouraging each other. But I'm just saying, you better enjoy your peace right now. Because the way the enemy finna be mad, because he can't stop it. So it's already here and it's already coming forth. I just want y'all to understand the way the enemy finna be mad ain't finna be funny. So I hope that is it. If you have not watched Beauty and the Beast, God may have you watch it because he might have some more things that he wants to speak through you. Y'all, we are present day Bells out here saving these beasts of men, of prodigals who have walked away. There are some things that we may feel like, why I got to do this? I'm the woman. I ain't supposed to be doing this, but it's hanging in the balance. We are called and we are designed to carry this thing until we can give it over and they're able to carry it. The enemy is depending on us not going through with everything that God has told us to do because it's too hard, because we don't feel like we should be doing it, because this is a man's job. He's counting on you to give up so he can destroy that man, and so those children that are supposed to come from your womb won't come, and so your father, your uncles, your daddies, your mamas, everybody else around you who ain't saved, who need this hope that's finna come through your marriage, won't move forward. He counting on you to give up. That should be enough right there to let you know I'm staying in the game and I'm staying in the fight, because it will be worth it. There is joy, but you also got to understand we are in a spiritual battle, and the enemy is not not gonna let us walk into these marriages without a fight. And when we get him, he ain't gonna let us stay in them without a fight either. You better learn how to resist the devil, and he will flee from you, because he'll play on your feelings, on your emotions all day and have you depressed and sad. You better have a schedule. You better have the things that you know that bring you joy, that bring you peace, and be able to implement, I can't even talk, everything that God has shown you in this season of singleness. Everything that you've experienced, you're going to need it. God sees what we cannot see. I love you guys, and I pray that you would understand the weight of your mantle, that it is generational. He is coming home. The men are coming home. Your sons, your husbands, your daddies, your uncles are coming home. You are also responsible for some older women that's going to be looking at you, that's going to need your life to give them hope. Beauty and the Beast, y'all. Present day Bells, all right? Carry the mantle. Pay attention to what God is showing you about people. He ain't lying. Write it down, because you're going to need it. I love y'all, and I'll see you guys the next time God sends me back. Bye.